here we are for a very quick little bonus episode, how to actually set up the settings inside Zoom for great sound and great video. Okay, so launch Zoom. You don't actually have to be starting a meeting. You can do it within the preferences before you even launch a meeting or anything else. Okay, so to do that, you click on the little icon in the corner up here. You can see my icon there. Click on it and then go all the way down to settings. Once you're in settings, you can see general, etc., lots and lots of things in here. What we're concerned with is, let's start with audio. That will spend our most time. Click on audio, and you can see there, you select your speakers. If you have headphones, that's always a good way because you can monitor the sound rather than having them off or using the onboard speakers for your computer. You'll avoid echo and feedback and all of that. Whatever your setup is, make sure you select that here, and then you can test it as well. Okay. What we're really concerned with down here is mic. Make sure you select the mic that you want to use, and that's Yeti microphone. I didn't have to install any drivers or anything like that. And in the audio lecture from Supercharge Your Webinar, I said to turn the gain down. That's the sensitivity. So that's the dial that changes the sensitivity of the microphone. Okay, that's one way of controlling the volume. What you really want to do is you want to go and you want to make sure that you uncheck automatically adjust microphone volume. Okay, you want to turn that off. And when you do that, this little slider then becomes active. And the reason that you want to do that is if you set it to automatic, what Zoom is going to do, what all the apps do, is what's called riding the levels. And it's just going to go along. It's going to set a level for your volume, and then you stop talking. And what it's going to do is it's going to raise the sensitivity, and suddenly your room's going to get noisy. And then you speak, and suddenly the very first part of your sentence is loud, and then it goes back down. And then you stop speaking and the room gets noisy again. We don't want that. You want nice, consistent levels. We fire sound engineers who ride the levels and do this all the time. So how you do that is you're just going to start talking. Start the first paragraph of your webinar. Okay, look at the levels that are popping up here, and we really want them about 3/4 of the way up. We don't want them way down here, and we certainly don't want them all the way to the top. So just try and rehearse. Talk normally, check those levels about 3/4 of the way here. You can see that's really good levels for our purposes. We never want them to come up here. That's going to be distorting and bad. All right, so make sure automatically adjust microphone volume is off. Next thing, Zoom background noise removal. I wish there was an opportunity to turn it off completely, but what we want to do is it normally set to auto. We want to set to low, because what it's going to do is it's going to try and remove the background sound, and it's going to give you a really artificial sound. So we want to have the minimal interference from Zoom on this. Okay, so set it to low, set your mic up properly, and then you're good to go for that. The other thing that I recommend that you do is click on original sound for musicians. Okay. What that's going to do is going to give you the highest quality sound. It's not going to try and compress it in order to appeal to all different bandwidths and so on. You likely won't have any problems with people hearing you. And if you have a high-speed connection, it's really not an issue with sound anymore. Okay, so original sound. When you launch Zoom, there will be a button for original sound. Your setup might be slightly different than mine, but you can click that, and then you're going to get the best quality sound for that. So make sure high fidelity music mode is selected. Echo cancellation, again, turn that off. That's an electronic thing that you want to avoid. And finally, stereo audio. We like stereo. What most people think is that good mics are stereo, and that's actually wrong. Most good quality mics, lavaliers and so on, are mono. You only get them from one channel. So that's nothing wrong with that. Mono is not a bad word, but here if you collect stereo audio, it's going to try and give you stereo broadcasting, which just sounds that little bit better. All right, The rest of these we're going to leave. I actually like press and hold space key to temporarily unmute. I think that's a great little feature for that. And automatically join computer audio when joining. Because you're hosting the meeting, because I'm going to be hosting the meeting, I usually like to check that as well. Okay, let's dive over to video. Here we are in video. Ooh, we do not want fake backgrounds. Fake is nothing that we want. So how do we turn that off? If you have it on, you're kind of wondering, you go down to background and effects and you choose none. Whew, much better. That's going to help so much. Like in a year or 2 years, we're going to look back at all these fake backgrounds and go, oh, that was such a terrible idea. Okay, authentic, that's what we're going for. That's what you're going for. Let's keep it to that. Backgrounds, choose none. All right, next thing, back to video. Not as many settings, but there's some important ones that we have to deal with. All right, first of all, choose the camera that you need. I have a few there. I'm just using the one on my MacBook Pro, my brand new one, which is pretty great. It's actually better than the Logitech webcam that I had. So I've upgraded that. I'm going to leave that. Simpler is better. Ratio, that's the dimensions of it. You can change that. Normally nothing is going to get affected by you checking like that. It's still going to be 16:9, the regular thing, instead of 4:3, which is the old frame size format. All right, HD, check that. What that's going to do is going to give you the highest quality possible. So if you're recording this, you're going to be able to save it and post it at really high quality. The only time you maybe turn that off is if you are experiencing any kind of buffering or people say it's breaking up, maybe you have bad connection. Otherwise, you're going to leave that checked. Mirror my video, what that actually does is shows you, actually flips so you actually see how you look to your guests in your webinar. Okay, so you can check that, play with that, and see how you look. All right, does personal preference thing. Some people think it looks a little weird. That's up to you. You can play around and test this stuff and see. All right, two that we're going to touch here. Touch of my appearance. What that actually does is very similar to the fake background. It's going to try and just soften and touch you up live as we're going. And I'm going to suggest that you turn that off because we don't want that. You don't want to be artificially blurred and smudged by the software inside Zoom. Sounds horrible. Let's not do that. All right. And finally, adjust for low light. You want to turn that off. You know, the only time you would use this is if you don't have a good ring light, a good light, and we've talked about that in the seminar. Okay, so you're going to turn that off. Again, what it does is it's going to artificially boost, and it's going to give you noise, and it's really unpredictable. So we want to stay in control of everything. I mean, that's how you built your webinar. Being in control and showing that, leave that off. All right, the rest of these, those are personal preference thing, has nothing to do with the look and sound of your video. All right. Authentic, that's what we want. So that's the overview of setting up the audio, setting up the video inside Zoom. All of the other programs, Teams and YouTube, they're all very, very similar. They have very similar types of settings. They'll be in slightly different places. All right. And that's it. Thank you very much. Good luck on everything. If you have any questions, comments, shoot me an email, send me a message, a comment, and yeah, good luck with everything. Bye.